What's going on there, guys? My name is Matt, or Chewy, as most of you will know me as, and good morning from a very dark Munich. We are down on the ground as Condor Airlines 1416, down on the ground in the FSLabs A320, and today a full flight video for you all, as you can tell by the title of the video, from Munich to La Palma. This is a real-world route. It's about a 4-hour flight. It's going to be a nice long one, and I'm really looking forward to this one. The first time we're featuring the FSLabs for a full flight video. We're on VIII, we're logged on. There's no air traffic control as far as I'm aware at the moment, and we are on stand 117. As you can see on the screen now, we've got the aircraft in a started up state somewhat. I've popped the external power onto it, and we've got the Sky Chefs boarding. Boarding, is that the right word? I don't think it is. They are starting to cater the aircraft ready for the long trip all the way down to La Palma. I got the idea to do this flight actually from renting a pilot's eye video. I've been really enjoying watching the pilot's eye video in my spare time, and so I thought I would basically replicate it. Back then it was 596 their call sign. Nowadays it's 1416 is the flight number, so CFG or DE I think 1416. And in the video, they departed about 5 a.m. Zulu-ish, I believe, or 4 a.m. Zulu, if I remember correctly. But nowadays, they don't. They depart much later. It's more like 12:30 in the afternoon. However, I needed to show you guys the night lighting in this flight deck, because if you haven't seen it, it is amazing. So I'm sure some people aren't fans of flying in the night and everything. I do apologize for that, but when you see the night lighting in this FSLabs, you will see the reason why. So, as I quickly mentioned, we are parked on stand 117, which is on apron number 1. That is the west side of Munich Airport at the second, where in the pilot side video they did actually depart from, so I'm kind of copying it from that in all honesty. We need to set up the flight. We'll start boarding once the catering is finished and get ready to go. So we'll start setting up the aircraft now. If I move into the main view, you can see here I've just popped some of the lighting on. And we've also got the aircraft in somewhat of an electrical startup. I've just popped the batteries on, started up some lights, as I say, and got the external power going. And by the looks of things, actually, catering's already finished. So I guess we'll go and close those doors for them. That was very quick indeed. They don't take very long, these guys, with the catering. There we go. With the doors closing up, and the catering will move out the way. So I'm not going to start boarding at this very second. We'll start boarding in a little bit. Let's get the aircraft more so set up, ready to receive passengers. I knew that was going to happen. Those of you on my Twitch live stream will know that for some reason the tray table just loves going out for me and loves I don't know why, it just loves always pulling out for me. I don't know if it's trying to say something about my weight or what. Anyway, to start us off, let's just get ourselves onto Unicom. We are on VIII today, and as I've said, there is no ATC as far as I'm aware. I will double check that just before we start programming the FMGCs. So we'll just go over to Unicom. And then I need to move down here, and we will turn on the TCAS system, like so, and just clear that and pop it as 2000. Lovely stuff. We'll head to the overhead now, and the basic principle, what we want to do now is basically get rid of all of the white lights. So the crew supply for the oxygen needs to go on, all of the fuel pumps need to go on as well, like so. So we've got rid of all of the white lights, and we'll get the ADIRs or ADIRSs aligned. I'll do 1, 2, and then number 3 in the middle there, like so. Perfect. So that's all looking in a good state. We've got the emergency exit lights on, no smoking light is on. We've got our nav lights, strobe lights onto auto as well, which is where they're supposed to be apparently. And so that's the overhead, good to go for now. QNH down on the ground at Munich at the moment is 1011, so we'll switch that across there. And then what I would usually do, actually, when I'm setting up I think it's the FCU, this panel up here. I'm so sorry if I get the names incorrect. I'm so used to Boeing, it's unreal. Is I would have both of them onto the VOR section of the needles here. But what I saw Condor doing in the pilot side videos is they actually have one for VOR and one to ADF. So I'm basically going to copy that. So we're going to have the number 1 needle over to the VOR, the right side, and then the left needle over to ADF as well. We'll have everything on the arc mode, and I'll pop in the constraint. Not that we're worrying about that at this very second in time. So that's the FDU in a good state to go. The time's 4:14 a.m. now, so we're not in a rush. We can start to think about boarding in a moment. But I guess first we need to load in the weights. So let's have a look at that. We'll move down to the FMGCs and we will go into payload. The payload for this 4 or so hour flight down to La Palma is 56.9. And that goes into there like so. And with a route of this length, we're obviously going to need a lot of fuel. I've taken an extra hour's worth of fuel as well or so way more than we need. But I'm taking 15,624 kilograms, which is by far the most I have ever entered into this aircraft. I won't lie to you. Flight time, according to my PFBX flight time, flight plan even, sorry, is scheduled to be 4 hours and 7 minutes using just over 10,000 kilograms of fuel. However, we're taking 6 hours and 27 minutes to fuel. So way overboard. But those of you who know me know that that's how I do things. I don't know why. I just always prefer to load in more fuel than less and be on the safe side. Right, I'm just going to double check to see if we've got any more ATC. I don't believe there is anything at the moment. So we should be fine on that. I'll just leave it how it is. And now that we've loaded in the weight, let's open up the doors. And we can request boarding with good old DSX. Brilliant. Now, one awesome feature of the FSLabs is that we can actually get our company route flight plan from VIII, which is really clever. You know what? I was debating whether to do so to show you that effect, but in all honesty, I think it would be quite fun if we program in our route anyway and do it manually. It's going to take a little bit more time, but I'm in no rush to get out of here, and I really like entering in routes manually instead of just always doing company route. So let's fill in this information, yeah, as I say, manually. So we're starting off EDDM, which is Munich, and we are flying to GCLA, which is the ICAO code for La Palma. Flight number, we are CFG1416. I'm afraid I don't know what cost index they use, so I will be guessing at 25. I'm sure people will be commenting on that in the description below. I apologize. I don't know. Simple as that. We are going to be step climbing today, I believe, but we're going to be initially cruising at flight level 350, and that can go in there. Now, I would fill in the entirety of the init page. However, when we start boarding, you can see here that the zero fuel weight is actually rising. So I don't have that final figure yet at the second with the center of gravity, which is important to enter on this init page here in the top right hand corner. And so I need to wait for boarding to complete before I can fill in the init page. So let's get planning the flight. To start off with, we are off to ALG. That is our first waypoint. So I'll pop that into there. That is 64 nautical miles away. And then we'll click into here and we'll start to program in the route manually. So we'll go to the airways page, and from ALG we are taking the Yankee 109er to Umtex, Uniform Mike Tango Echo Echo. From there we are taking the Yankee 100 to Tango Romeo Alpha, TRA. Then from TRA it's the Zulu 69 to Olben. This is quite a long flight plan, so this will take me a little while, but again, it's more fun to do than just loading in a company. Then the Upper November 869er to Alpha Golf November. Apparently it says the passengers have already boarded with GSX. That was disgustingly quick. I somehow don't think they would be throwing them into the aircraft quite that quickly. And then the Upper Lima 866 to Papa November. Now I believe I need to insert that like so, and then scroll all the way down and do that page again. I don't think there's a way you can do it as a second page. Oh gosh, this is a really long flight plan as well. Maybe I should have loaded in the company route. Oh well. So we're looking for Papa November. We'll click on that and go airways once again and carry on with the process just as before. So Upper November 976 this time to NEA. And from NEA it is the Upper Lima 14 to Addino. And then I think I may be able to do this. If I put that in there, will that work? No, it won't. I wondered if that would work if I could just go direct DCT, but unfortunately it doesn't work. So let me just keep scrolling through this once again, because we direct the next waypoint after Addino, which is Bexal. I'm just going to... Oh, crap, I've done that wrong. Temporary insert. Sorry. I definitely should have done this as a company route. We're going to be here all day now. But hey, it shows those of you who want to do this manually how to enter in your flight plan into the FMGCs of the A320. And as I keep saying, we're in no rush. Apart from when we have to scroll through every single darn waypoint. Right, there we go. There's Addino. And so the next waypoint is Bexal. Right, so let's see if that's entered in. Apparently it hasn't. What's going on there then? What have I done now? See if I can do it like that and enter it in. Okay, good, we can. From Bexal, we are taking the Upper November 866. To Kubil. Almost there now. One more to go. And then once again, the Upper November 866 to Conba. And that is it. We finally got there in the end. And that's our flight plan loaded in. Just click insert there. And we'll head right back to the start. And we'll double check that route through and just make sure there's no weird discontinuities or anything not looking correct on that flight plan. Let me just move right back to the start if it'll let me. Come on. Wish there was a way I could fast track doing this. There probably is as well. I'm just going to have to step all the way back through this now. To be fair, what we're seeing so far, it all looks fine. Right. So ALG is our first waypoint on the flight plan, and then I'm just going to very quickly scroll through all of these waypoints and make sure everything looks in good order, which so far it does. So let's pray and hope that I haven't entered in any incorrect waypoints on the flight plan. I seem to be doing an okay job so far. But this is giving you a real kind of idea of how long this route is. Kubil, and then Conba, and then after that there's a discontinuity, and then the airport for our arrival. Perfect. Good. So that's loaded in there like so. The next thing that we want to do is let's load in our departure from here. So departure at the moment is 26 right, and it's going to be the ALG to November departure like so. So we'll insert that, and that should be in place. I'm having a look at the Navigraph charts and having a look to see what details we've got for that. So in terms of the SIDS, you can see here on the ALG to November that it's a straight out departure. I believe at Delta Mike 061 we have to be above 7,000 feet. And then it's pretty much direct to the ALG, is it an NVD? I'm not too sure, sorry. An ALG VOR, I believe it is. I can't remember. I'm an idiot. What else have we got to do from that? There's no other restrictions, actually, by the looks of things. It's a pretty straight out departure. Really nothing too crazy. If we also have a look on chart number 5200, we'll be able to see that the initial climb for the Alagu or ALG to November departure is flight level 70. So we'll enter that in now on the FPV app. Flight level 70. Apparently boarding is completed, so that was very quick indeed. I'm not going to do anything else for the moment. We still need to set up the rest of the flight. Having a look at our takeoff performance, it's going to be a config 2 departure today with, actually, that's the point. Maybe I should, actually no, it's fine, don't worry, we've got the center gravity there. So 26.9, so that's going to give us, if I have a look here, it's going to give us an up of, we'll go with 0.9er. So slash up 0.9er. For the flaps. Flex temperature is 57 degrees. I'm sorry if there's any part of this that is confusing or not in the right order or I make mistakes and stuff like that. I'm still by no means an expert with this aircraft. So if I do make mistakes, I apologize. Right, we can now go back and fill in that init B page that we missed out earlier on because we've got all of the weights correctly loaded into here. So 56.9er with the center of gravity 26.9, and then the block fuel is going to be 15.6. So we can now go back to the perf page, and that will give us our V speed. So 146, 146, and 147 are our speed, which is absolutely fine. I'm not going to enter in any acceleration out or anything like that, and we can just leave it like that. Perfect. So we've finished configuring the FMGCs. Now it's correctly popped that we've got a transition altitude to 5,000 feet, and we're ready to finish boarding, close up the doors, start up the APU, and then get ourselves out of here. It's almost 4:30, so we're good on timing. And yeah, let's start up the APU now. So first thing we need to do to start ourselves up is select the master switch. We'll also turn on the seatbelt signs now. And then once we've started up the master switch, we need to keep an eye on the lower ECAM display here to look for flap open, which just as I say it comes up on the screen. So once you see flap open, that is your indicator that you can then start up the APU. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Moving on, let's start to close all the doors up now, because if we finish boarding, we can pretty much get ourselves ready to go for departure. Let's have a look at chart, I believe it is number 20 on the screen for you guys now, to have a look to see where we are taxiing. So by the looks of things, we're going to be pushing back with our nose facing to the left-hand side, and then we'll taxi down Oscar 1, and I believe it's Charlie 1, Charlie 2, and then all the way down November to the holding point for 26 right will go Alpha 13. So we're taking the long taxi down on November and taking a left-hand turn onto Alpha 13 to line up the runway 26 right. How are we doing outside now? We can remove the jetway, which I usually always forget to do. It seems to have penetrated my entire aircraft, but should move out the way now. If you're wondering what the scenery is, we're at Taxi to Gate, Munich today, which is really, really lovely scenery. I swear I can hear aircraft around me. Is there somebody loaded in? Ah, there's a KLM taxiing. Well, how's about that for timing? I thought I could hear traffic. Most likely heading off to Amsterdam. I'd be very surprised if he was going anywhere else. And then the scenery that we're arriving into is Aerosoft Palma, which is beautiful. Okay, let's keep going on with the setup now. APU is available, which means we can switch ourselves onto the bleeds. Now, what I like to do, as some of you who will have been in my Twitch chat will know before, is for some reason, I always like waiting for the pack fault lights to go out before I switch off the external power. I have no specific reason for that, but when I start the APU bleeds, the pack fault lights will go off, and it's only after that that I take the external power out. I don't know if that's a thing that is supposed to be done, but it's just the way I do. So we're now purely running on the APU. We've got the parking brake set as well here, which means that we are ready to go. We've not got any connections to the ground. So I'll load up GSX again. We'll prepare for pushback and departure, and I would like my nose to be facing back to the left. I'm not too sure where that aircraft is going, that KLM in all honesty, because he was going from my left to right, which would indicate that he's maybe taking off on a different runway. So yeah, hopefully we'll be okay. I'm going off the one that they were using in real life about 5 minutes before I started to record this video. So if they made a runway change that quickly, I'm sorry. Moving on, we can switch to the engine page now, because that's going to be the next thing that we need to do. We'll start the beacon light because we are ready for pushback, and we'll go into the second FMGC here and disconnect the ground power unit and the ground shock because we are completely finished with them. I'll keep the left FMGC on the takeoff performance page. I'll have the right one on our flight map. And we're ready to go. The night lighting in this thing is just absolutely beautiful. It really is. I've heard so many people complaining about the quality of the FSLabs and the quality of the flight deck. And in all honesty, I don't get what the fuss is all about. It's absolutely fine. I'm really, really impressed with it. So, here we go. We're all ready for engine start. We're all ready to get this trip underway. So I will release the parking brake. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at wheel says GSX. So we shall start the clock at just before 4:30 in the morning. Ignition over the start. And we'll start engine number 2.
Herzlich willkommen an Bord, liebe Fluggäste. Im Namen der heutigen Crew darf ich Sie auf Ihrem Condor-Flug begrüßen. Wir sind in Kürze startbereit. Bitte nehmen Sie sich jetzt noch einen Moment Zeit für Ihre Sicherheit.
Meine Damen und Herren, wir möchten Sie bitten, sich mit den Sicherheitsvorkehrungen an Bord dieser Maschine vertraut zu machen. Vielen Dank für Ihre Aufmerksamkeit. Bitte verstauen Sie Ihr Handgepäck in den Gepäckfächern über Ihren Sitzen. Für schweres und haariges Handgepäck nutzen Sie den Stauraum unter Ihren Vordersitzen. Und achten Sie darauf, dass es sicher verschlossen ist. Bitte legen Sie nun Ihren Sicherheitsgurt an. Zum Schließen Ihres Gurtes führen Sie beide Gurtteile zusammen und ziehen Sie diese fest. Zum Öffnen des Gurtes brauchen Sie nur den Verschluss anzuheben. Da jederzeit unerwartete Turbulenzen auftreten können.
I love that feature. The cabin safety demonstration feature is awesome. I'll turn it on just quietly in the flight deck so we can continue to listen to it. Yeah. Yep. Okay, we've got a good start on engine number 2, so as much as I want to sit here and listen to the cabin safety demonstration, I'm going to need to start up the engine and bolt.
Sobald wir unsere Reiseflughöhe erreicht haben, dürfen Handys im Flugmodus benutzt werden. Einen Überblick, welche elektronischen Geräte...
One of the best features about the FSLabs is this. Such a great novelty little feature.
Dieser Flug ist wie alle Condor-Flüge ein Nichtraucherflug. Das Rauchen ist während des gesamten Aufenthalts an Bord...
The sound in this aircraft, absolutely phenomenal.
Sie den Gurt ein und ziehen Sie ihn straff.
Okay, looks like we've got a good start on both engines. Everything is absolutely fine, and I am happy with the engine displays there, and we can see at the front here that GSX is now disconnected. So we'll do the after start procedure. Ignition switch can go back to norm. We are using a config 2 plus F today, so we shall select that like so. Just going to make sure that my throttles are in the correct place, because sometimes the FSLabs put you straight into reverse, weirdly enough. And then we can take off the APU bleed now, because we've got both engines running, so we no longer need the APU. And we shall also take out the master switch for the APU. It will say that it's available for a little while longer, but it is shutting down now. Nose lights can come on, runway turn-off lights can come on because GSX is out the way. Whoops. I'll turn the dome light off now so we can have a little bit more atmosphere in here. We shall put the auto brake to maximum, arm the ground spoilers as well. Move that to auto. And then the final thing that we need to do is a flight control, just as we're about to taxi. So we're going up, the pitch trim of up 0.9 is what we're aiming for. There it is. And we'll do a flight control check very quickly whilst we're here. So, full left, neutral. All right.
On behalf of today's crew, may I welcome you aboard this combat. Will you ready
Pull up.
to take off shortly?
Neutral. Pull down. Neutral. And then the rudders,
we'd like to familiarize you with the safety
which aren't working. What a surprise that something stops working the split second I am recording a video. That makes absolute sense to me. Okay guys, what I'm going to have to do is just stop the recording very quickly, fix my rudder pedals. I swear this is the first time this has happened on a video, and then I'll be back with you in a second. I do apologize for cutting into the video here, but for some reason I need to call maintenance and work out what the heck's going on with my rudder pedals, so I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I am back within a split second because I worked out my fault. What I'd done is I'd selected the pedal disconnect down, which stopped the rudder from working so that you can taxi and use your rudder pedals as a tiller in the aircraft, basically. And so I've unselected that, and now we'll go full left with the rudder, and you can see that that's working fine, and then full right with the rudder as well. So that's what my problem was, is that I put the pedal disconnect down, which I will do now because we need that for taxi. Terrain on the navigation display there over on the right hand side, and I can clear that page now. We are ready to go. We'll release the parking brake and start our taxi. This is what I mean about the night lighting in this thing. It is just amazing. It really is something extra special. Okay, I'm not going to lie, as much as the cabin safety demonstration is cool, it's also really annoying, so I'm going to shut it up now. I need to concentrate on my taxiing, because I am by no means a master of taxiing this aircraft. In the pilot side video, the livery that they use is the old Thomas Cook livery with Condor, which is, in my opinion, a lot worse than the livery that they've got now. So, you know, there are things that are differentiating the pilot side video and my flight here, but I'm just kind of loosely basing it off that, in all honesty. Right, I want to be careful with speed here. I'm happy if we're going in a straight line at around about 20 knots, in all honesty. I don't really need to rush this taxi. We're in no rush to get out there. We don't need to worry about de-icing at the moment, I don't believe either. GSX didn't give us the option for it anyway. And this thing is just such a pleasure to fly. If you don't have the FSLabs yet, and you're looking for something immersive and just next level to fly, I highly recommend picking it up. Those of you from my Twitch stream will know that I've had rather a few issues with this aircraft, and had things going wrong with it and everything. Apparently that's just bad luck on my behalf. But despite my bad luck with it, I just cannot stop flying this thing. I'm pretty much always craving it, which for a guy who mainly loves Boeing aircraft, you know, that says it all about how amazing this product is from FSLabs. Okay, so we taxi down Oscar 1 now. We're going to be taking the slight left-hand turn onto Charlie 1, and then over the top of the bridge, which I will show you guys as we cross it. And I believe that's Charlie 2, if I'm correctly said there. Knowing me, I'm not. And then the right turn after that. Sorry, it's November 2, so we're on Charlie 1 now. And then it's the entry for November 2. And then a right turn onto November. There we go. That sounds better. As you can see, my turning skills in this aircraft leave something to be desired, so I apologize for that. I'm trying to make it as smooth as I possibly can, but I am by no means the best. Still only 4:37 a.m., 5:37 a.m. local time, so I don't think there's going to be much traffic as we cross over the bridge on the road. No, absolutely none. I swear to you, that has nothing to do with me turning it off in a second. Always have to remember that with the clock as well. You know, I say 4:37 a.m., but that's Zulu time, which is 1 hour behind what Germany is on. So 4:38 Zulu, but local time here in Germany is 5:38. And if I'm not mistaken, I think La Palma could be 1 hour ahead of that, but I will double check that ready for our arrival so we know what the local time is when we land. Okay, straight taxi all the way down November now to the holding point for runway 26 right. So I'll pop in a little bit more thrust now, get us moving, and let's carry on with everything else. So we'll do the takeoff config test now, which is showing up as normal. So we've got all green on the upper ECAM, which is good. I'll turn the weather radar on now as well, because we're going to be needing that soon. And then the last things that I really need to do is just switch on my TCAS, change the lighting, ready for departure, and then we're good to go. We're just passing Alpha 6 on the left, and we'll continue all the way down. I don't know where that KLM's gone. I'm recording this not in real time, so it's not actually 4:39 a.m. Zulu when I'm recording this. It's something like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So the immersion in that regard is a little bit out, but I'm surprised kind of early afternoon on a Sunday when I'm recording this that there's not that many people flying out of Munich right now. The sounds again, I know I've mentioned them before, but truly spectacular. For those of you who don't know La Palma, it's quite an interesting approach. It's not quite as crazy as Madeira or Samos. However, there's lots of factors to be taken into account for. So even though this is a 4-hour flight, I'm going to be setting up the arrival nice and early and giving a good, well, my very best attempt at a good briefing of it for you guys so we can understand exactly what we need to do. And on a side note, well, I'm sure I'll repeat it. I'm not making excuses, but this is my first ever approach into La Palma for the video today. I deliberately did it like that because I just thought it would be fun to see how we went on. But it's a relatively tricky approach, and if you do it wrong, you're going to be in trouble quickly. So we'll do lots of preparation, have a good look at the charts, and have a good look at my electronic flight bag to make sure that we're doing everything as correct as I possibly can. Registration, as you can see at the back of the aircraft there, is Delta Alpha India Charlie Lima. Downloaded this livery, one of the official FSLabs liveries on their forum website, which is where I also downloaded that cabin safety demonstration sound. I'm sure some people will ask how I got it and how it worked. You literally just need to put it into the FSLabs folder, basically, for the aircraft type. The FSLabs comes with both the IAE engine variant or the CFM engine variant. This aircraft today is the CFM variant. And so once you've downloaded them from the forums, you just literally paste them into the respective folder, whether it's CFM or IAE, and make sure it's named correctly as it will tell you how to do. And that's it. Those little quirks about FSLabs which just sets it apart from everything else. Right, we're almost there now. I know it's a long taxi all the way down to 26 right, but we'll be up in the air and on our way in no time. Next turn is Alpha 12, and we are looking for Alpha 13. There you go, you can see Alpha 12 coming up on the left, not departing off that one. We'll go to the next closest one, up here, which is Alpha 13. Just have a quick look on TCAS and everything to make sure that there's no aircraft arriving. I was incorrect. I'm having a look on VATSPY, and that aircraft, that KLM 737 aircraft, has departed maybe 26 left, I'm guessing. And is going from Munich to Copenhagen as KLM. I don't know if that's a real flight or not, but there you go. Welcome to Battle. This aircraft, in terms of throttle management for taxi, is just so easy. I've hardly had to cut the throttles whatsoever. It just maintains things so nicely. Okay, talking about throttle management, I'll bring them back to completely idle now and start to slow down the speed a tad, just because I don't want to be going too fast as we make the left-hand turn here for Alpha 13. Here we are, threshold for 26 right. We'll hold short very quickly, just double check that we're good to go. As I say, just check the TCAS to make sure that nobody's going to be running into me. And then we'll get ourselves going. De-icing hold point is here apparently. Unfortunately, we don't have that, so I'll move past this point. And then we'll hold short just here very quickly. We're looking for scenery, you know, like you're a European flyer, you want to fly more in Europe and you're debating a nice scenery to get. I would highly recommend this Taxi to Gate Munich scene. I would highly recommend pretty much everything from Taxi to Gate, but this one is phenomenal. Okay, parking brake set just whilst we check everything through. We're going to move the TCAS to the TARA position now. You can see it's said TA only just because we're on the ground. Second, we'll bring up all the lights, the strobe lights go on, and pop all of these up to the top here like so, and that will just take a second, I'm assuming. I don't know if the sim's going to show the lights. There we go. Now you can see the landing lights turning on. I love that that takes the real amount of time that it actually would in the real aircraft. And there's the lighting. Absolutely amazing. This is why I wanted to fly at night for you guys, or fly early in the morning for our departure, because this thing is very, very, very special for life. Okay, we're good to go. Nothing on the TCAS that I can see whatsoever. Nothing on my VATSIM radar, VATSPY telling me that anybody's going to be arriving here. So we'll release the parking brake once again and line up, ready to go on runway 26 right. I plan on keeping the aircraft moving so we don't stop again. So we'll do a rolling takeoff from here. Line up as best I can with the center line. I'm usually not very good at that. Okay. Chrono starts. Throttle's up to about 50% N1, as you can see on the upper ECAM display. We'll wait for that to stabilize. I don't know why it's not going into Manflex. Oh my god, this aircraft. There it is. Manflex. Apologies. Manflex, SRS, runway. Auto thrust is in blue. 100 knots. Rotate. Positive rate of climb, gear up. I'll explain about that whole toga thing in the throttles in a moment. Just concentrate on my departure. Make sure we're looking all good in that regard. Trim nicely. I'll pop in the autopilot now and leave it like so. And we'll wait for the PFD to say leave a climb. There it is. So I will select that. Bring out the range display as well, so we can see what we're doing on the departure here. Now, there's no ATC, so we're going to climb up higher. What I'll do first, though, is traction flap. So flap number 1. And then straight away, we can go with flap up. Look at that view. That is stunning. Screenshot worthy right there. Okay, let's keep going. So what we'll do is we'll pop ourselves all the way up to cruise level now and go into open climb. As I say, 7,000 is the initial climb for that SID, the ALG 2 November SID. But there's no ATC online, so we will move ourselves up like so. Don't need the ground spoilers anymore, so we'll leave those out. And off we go. So, just very quickly to explain what happened there. Basically, the way that I set my throttles was advised to me by John Barnes, who's one of the beta testers for the FSLabs. A very, very cool guy. Let me just set my standard pressures with cruise transition altitude now, 5,000 feet. He's a very, very helpful person. He's been amazing with helping me with my issues with the aircraft or any of my questions. And basically, he advised me to advance my throttles on my, throttle quadrant manually to about 50% N1. If I move that, it's about there. And then press F4 twice, which will automatically select the throttles into the man flex zone. Unfortunately, it sometimes doesn't work like that. I did that just now, advanced the throttles to 50%, hit F4 twice, and it didn't work, and then went into toga, and now my phone is going off. What typical timing, always when I'm recording. I apologize. Not very professional of me. And so I just had to kind of reset the throttles and then select it again and select man flex like that. So apologies that wasn't very realistic, but it's just because sometimes that F4 trick to get myself into man flex doesn't always work. As you can see, I've not clicked anything, but the logo lights have gone off and the cabin lights have dimmed as well, which is another feature of the FSLabs, which in my opinion is just so clever how it, anticipates these things ready for departure and everything, and just does them automatically. don't know why the sound is kind of glitched in this view at low altitudes. Oh, the immersion as we go through those clouds. Sun just starting to rise. Look at those sky colours, my gosh. And we can see the night lighting of Munich down below there, with the clouds disturbing our view slightly. Absolutely beautiful stuff. We have literally just gone through 10,000 feet. Perfect timing for one. So I'll take off all the landing lights and everything now. Wow, look at those sky colours. I can assure you I did not plan to depart this time with those sky colours in view. I really do assure you that. And just the lighting in the flight deck as well. Absolutely stunning. Definitely does its job. We're happy with our climb rate at the second. Our speed is staying at about 250 knots. And I believe that's because there is a restriction here. You can see at Delta Mike 061, we need to be above 7,000 feet, which we are way above now. And there's a restriction of 250 knots there. So that's why our aircraft hasn't accelerated now that we're above 10,000 feet there. And there's your reasoning for that. But we are off on our way. I will leave you with some beautiful views of the aircraft as we climb. And then I'll probably join you just once we've reached the top of climb and check in with you all there. And enjoy the view as we move up to flight level 3. Welcome back to the flight deck, ladies and gents. We have just literally reached top of climb now. 25 minutes into the air after our departure from Munich. We are very heavy, so it took us a little bit longer than usual to get up to cruise, but we're all good. Safely at flight level 350. I've released the passengers by taking off the seatbelt signs, so they're all free to move about as they want. Been smooth so far, no weather to worry about, no turbulence or anything of that remark. And what I've also done is I've put out the footrest here that you can select to go out for the virtual first officer and myself, and we've got the tray table out as well. And one cool thing, another little feature of the FSLabs, is that you've even got lights which you can do there, so you can have some lights on your tray table, which is quite cool. You can you can have these kind of things as well, and you can have tray table lights and all of that. Like, there's just so many things. Look at this, you can have chart lights and everything over here. There's just it's just on a completely different level of immersion to anything else I've ever flown before. But yeah, we're nice and safe in cruise now. A long way to go, as I said. We're expecting a flight time of just over 4 hours for this flight. And we've got 1,554, it just switched over, nautical miles until top of descent, which is going to be at 8:41. We're expected to land at about 9 o'clock UTC time, which is, yeah, about 3 hours and 45 minutes from now. So it's a heck of a long cruise all the way down to La Palma, but it is basically off the northwest coast of Africa, and we have only just left Munich, so that's not surprising whatsoever. On another note as well, something that I wanted to point out is that according to my flight plan, we are supposed to be step climbing. We've got flight level 350 in initially here, but if we want to go down to our FMGCs, at this waypoint here, November Echo Alpha, we are supposed to be step climbing to flight level 370. I've tried to work it out myself, how to step it in by doing, you know, what you do in the Boeing, where you go /370S. and enter that in and everything, and it just hasn't worked at the moment. And so in all honesty, I'll just be completely blunt and honest with you guys. I don't actually know how to program a step climb in this thing because I've never had to do one before. This is by far the longest flight I've ever done in the FSLabs Airbus. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have a good look around through the manuals and on Google and everything and asking friends to see if they know how it's done and trying to program that in. If they don't know what to do to program it in, I will simply come back at about the time that we are supposed to reach there. So it says 6:36 Zulu here is when we're expected to get there. So that's about an hour and 15, an hour and 20 minutes from now. And I will manually select the new altitude of flight level 370 in the FCU here, and then make sure that that is correct on the performance page, and that's entered correctly, and we'll just manually do the step of 370 if we feel that's okay. But that's it pretty much now. We can just sit back, enjoy the view, enjoy the lovely sunrise. I'm debating whether I may do a time-lapse for this, but it depends on how difficult that will be to record it. So apologies if there's no time-lapse, but it's still going to be a really lovely view to see as we head down towards Palma. I'll join you once again when we're about an hour or so out maybe from landing to plan the arrival and to show you guys the full arrival procedure and what exactly our plan is to get down safely into La Palma, and then we'll get this baby down and see how we do for my first ever approach there. So once again, enjoy the views, and I'll see you in a little while. Righty-ho, welcome back to the flight deck, my good friends. We are in the trip now for quite a while. We've been in the trip for quite a while, should I say. Just under 3 hours, 2 hours and 57 minutes to be precise. We've got a lovely tailwind now, about 67 knots, carrying the aircraft along. And as you can see, the sun has fully risen. So I've turned off most of the lighting in the flight deck, all of the background lighting in there. And we are carrying on nicely. Still on course, still on good schedule. And we should be arriving into La Palma within the next hour or so from now. I thought it would be a good time, as I said at the start of the video, to program in the arrival early and show you guys what the approach is going to be. So, actually before I do that, one very quick note as well. I said that I would be doing a step climb at an earlier waypoint to 370 according to according to my PFPX flight plan. I've gone into the progress page on the aircraft, and it says the optimal is still 350, so I decided not to go with the step climb. We'll just stick at 370, and it should be absolutely fine there. Anyway, there's only one pretty much approach that we are going to be doing into La Palma. It's very limited on what you can do, and it's going to be the NDB-DME approach into runway 01. Now, this is quite a tricky approach in the sense that there's high proximity ground very close to the runway, and you cannot just straight line yourself up. So obviously when you're going into an airport, you're usually on track with the runway for quite a while in a straight line as you go. Not the case here with La Palma. It's a little more tricky than that. So we'll program it in. I'll show it to you on the FMGCs, and then I'll also take a look at the chart as well and show you that. So we just program it in first. Arrival wise, our final waypoint, as you can see on the right, FMGC, is Conba. And so we're going to be doing the NDB approach for runway 01 using the Conba 3 Bravo arrival. And that will give Araco as our transition point. That automatically selects us in there for us. So let's check this route through. We'll go to the plan page, bring the range all the way back, and just step through the flight plan and make sure that looks correct. So there's Conba, and then the next waypoint, first one in the star, is Brick. And we'll move down, and here it is. So this is where things get a little bit crazy. If I just bring in that zoom range, you can see here exactly how it goes. So there's Araco, which is the transition point from the end of the star onto the NDB-DME arrival. And we've got all of these altitude constraints that we need to be at. We've got a decel point here as well. And if I slightly move down, let me see if I can do it where I can show it to you all. If we move forward a little bit further. There is the basis of where we need to be to get onto the runway. So we've got, we move around here and then we're pretty much in a straight line to MQ-01. And by that point, I will most certainly be configured and will most certainly be manual without any autopilot in there. I plan on taking the autopilot out pretty much as early as I possibly can, because if you can see here, we've got to intercept this radial basically, I think, or something, and move our way through. I'm not the biggest expert and I've probably done a terrible job explaining this, but we're basically going to be doing the visual for it. So once we're on this final leg here, we've got this high proximity ground with the mountains over on the left hand side, and then by, I'd hope, Foxtrot Quebec 01, I will be able to have the aircraft completely out of the autopilot and will control the arrival visually myself from there. So just to confirm that, we're looking at chart now number 630 for the stars coming in from the north, and you can see there the various different arrivals that we've got all congregating at Brick and then splitting off. And as I said, we're doing that Honda 3 Bravo 3 Victor arrival, if I can speak properly. And then also on chart number 710, you can see that full procedure for the NDB approach. So I'm just going to let the aircraft do its own thing, configure ourselves as we go down after Araco, and make sure that we are fully set up for landing. And then I'll take the autopilot out as soon as I can and go visually from there. Right, hopefully I've not made too much of a hash of explaining that. I'm by no means an expert at these types of things, so if I say things incorrectly, I do apologise. I'm not the best with explaining stuff technically. I just kind of fly and have fun. No excuses though. Right, moving on to the approach phase. Let's pop in all of the weather details for La Palma. GCLA is currently at a temperature, beautiful temperature of 20 degrees centigrade. The wind is 30 at 17 knots. So we're going to have a tiny bit of a crosswind. Hopefully not going to affect us too much. The QNH down on the ground is 1019er. What did I do there? Did I type something wrong? 1019er. There we go. And then the decision altitude, according to the chart, is 1,600. And that goes into there like so. On the pilot side video for this flight, they actually took auto brake medium here. I don't think we need it. We'll be going auto brake low. And if we also actually have a look at chart 320, you can see the profile for the runway there. It's a 2,200 meter runway. We're going to be landing on 01, as you can see, and then I very much doubt we're going to be able to vacate via Charlie, the third right turn there onto the apron. So we'll most likely continue all the way to the end of runway 01, make a 180 turn, and then backtrack down runway 19 to then exit at Charlie. And I'm planning on parking on gate number 4. So we'll go down Charlie, taxi down to the apron towards stand number 4 like there. I don't believe it's modelled in prepared. You can see the runway profile in the bottom right hand corner of that chart, and you can see that you've got that 0.3% wait, what's the word I'm trying to think of here? Slant upwards. I can't think of the technical words. I'm not with it today, as you can probably already tell. And pretty much at that landing zone is when the profile of the runway changes, and we get rather a dramatic downhill, 0.74% downhill gradient there. So I don't believe we have to actually worry about that in the simulator. However, it's always something to take into account when we're doing these things. So we set up the arrival now. We know what our plan of action is. Pretty much just following the aircraft down on the autopilot past the Araco, establishing ourselves nice and early with the gear down, flaps and everything like that. And then I'll try and take the autopilot out as early as possible. We'll go with low auto brake, and I'll probably give it quite a good bit of welly with the reversers, because the runway is not very long, and if for whatever reason my approach isn't the greatest and we float down the runway a little bit or something, which isn't uncommon for me, I'll want to be making sure that we've got enough power to stop by the end, and then we'll make a nice backtrack down runway 01. At the moment, there's nobody else on VATSIM inbound this airport, so if I do that backtrack on runway 19 to then exit at Charlie, we shouldn't be in danger of messing up anybody else's flight. But again, you never know with the wonders of VATSIM. So I've programmed that in now. I won't join you for the top of descent because we're pretty much good to go. For that now, I just need to reset the FCU altitude. And I will most likely join you again when we are on our approach to that Araco transition and getting ready to set up the aircraft for landing. So enjoy some more views of the cruise and descent down into La Palma. Good afternoon, Canary Center. Condor 1416 with you, flight level 350 inbound Conva.
Condor 1416, hello, good evening. Please set your squawk on 1416.
Squawking 1416, Condor 1416. What a convenient squawk code, my flight number. That's the first time I've ever had that.
Condor 1416, thank you, identified on radar now. So you can expect runway 01 and Palma 3 Victor arrival, or if desired, you can fly direct to Araco intersection now.
But landing runway 01 on the Conva 3 Victor arrival and direct to Araco for Condor 1416. Thank you.
Okay, Condor 1416, and then disregard Conva arrival and fly direct Araco and reach it altitude 4,000 feet. The QNH is 1019. Start descending when you reach your top of descent.
Brilliant. We'll start descending at our top descent point to reach Araco at 4,000 feet. QNH 1019 down on the ground. Condor 1416. Okay, so there we go. We've surprisingly got air traffic control just about 150 nautical miles away from our top of descent point. As you heard me contact Canary Center there. He's given us the Conva 3 Victor arrival, which luckily is the one we've already programmed in. And he's asked us to be at 4,000 feet by Araco, and we have been given clearance direct to Araco, which is 233 nautical miles away. Top of descent for us now is about 15 minutes time, where we have been given clearance to already descend. I will let the controller know at that top of the descent point as well that we are going to start our descent. So it looks like we've got ATC on arrival, which is an absolutely brilliant surprise. So I will once again go back to some more lovely shots of this crazy weather that we're getting. Actually, look at how high these clouds are. It's mad. And then I'll join you back for the descent. Right, we're a bit further down. I thought I'd just cut in between there because there wasn't much going on. And we are loading in the scenery. There is La Palma. That is what we have been waiting for, my good friends. And you can see the airport, I believe, just over in the distance there. So we're pretty much, I guess, kind of on a downwind leg now. Not really too far to go. And we're going to be making that turn at Araco soon, almost down at 4,000 feet. And there is the island. We've been in the air now for, yeah, just about 4 hours or so. 3 hours and 55 minutes. QNH is 1019er. We can set that in. So let me just switch over and pop 1019er in there. 4 nautical miles away from Araco.
Can you confirm on the localizer now?
And need to keep an ear out for ATC to make sure that we don't miss any of their commands. I think we're going to think about slowing down soon and configuring. We've still got another 30 nautical miles or so to go. But I want to make sure that I'm in good stead quite early. I think once we level out here to Araco, I'll start reducing my speed. Look at those views. Good to see. Absolutely gorgeous. I can see why people go here on holiday. A little bit stormy. Had some lightning on the way down after Lisbon, and we've got a bit of weather coming up on the navigation display now. You can see some stormy weather up ahead. So let's start to bring the speed and configure ourselves nice and probably not needed in all honesty, but I'd rather be safe than sorry in all honesty. There's the airport directly ahead of us. Everything's looking good in terms of our approach at the moment. Altitude and everything. Speed's coming back nicely. That's what. Wow, that weather radar is really starting to light up now. We've got a bit of artwork going on. I'm glad we're just avoiding that, because I would not want that in my way when doing this approach for the first ever time. Brilliant scenic escape though. Gonna keep that navigation display coming in. I really want to be careful here. I'm leaving the terrain on the first officer's navigation display because I don't really want it to distract me too much on this side of the screen. 20 nautical miles to go now. Happy that we're a little bit slower than before, and I'm not too sure when that aircraft is going to be departing that was ahead of us down on the ground at the Palma. He could be wanting to go any moment, but hopefully if he does want to go at the same time as us, we'll be able to get down first. We won't have to wait for him or anything. My gosh, this lightning is everywhere. I was not expecting this. Wish me luck. Although by the time you've watched this, it'll be way past.
Color 1416, you're clear now for the NDB approach at the runway 01. Please report when you was on final and the airport inside.
Cleared for the NDB approach, runway 01. We'll report when established, and the runway is in sight, Condor 141. Oh, here comes the turbulence. Here we go. Now is where things get a little bit interesting. Let's start to think about bringing our speed back even a little bit more. We've still got that 4,000. It was supposed to be 4,500 feet here at Charlie Quebec 01. But because we got cleared down to 4,000, I thought I'd enter in 4,000 there myself. And what I'm going to do now is go over to the performance page and activate the approach mode. And we'll start to bring our speed back to 180 knots just before we make this this right-hand turn here. Back to.
Thompson 7 Victor Echo, vacate for my 0.
My gosh, this is interesting.
Thompson 7 Victor Echo, welcome. Please continue Echo to Alpha Gate, and then you can taxi the stand for you 1-3 Bravo. Stand 1-3
Hopefully audio
Bravo.
levels will be okay and you'll be able to hear air traffic control myself in the sim. I do apologise if they're not perfected. It's very difficult to do so.
Bravo, Thompson 7 Victor Echo.
Hop on the rest of the lights now.
Wailing 8155, request taxi.
That was him. That's the guy who wants to go before us, requesting taxi there.
Wailing 1855, you can taxi via Alpha Gate and backtrack approved to your holding point runway 01.
I'm sure why we're not descending.
Confirm that you have a traffic nearest of you, because there is, it seems, a scenery problem with this traffic, and it appears at the holding point runway 01.
Oh, good. We've got somebody who's online.
Okay, Alpha backtrack runway 01, line for wait, and stand by 158
This is going to be interesting. I have a feeling. So we need to be above 3,100 feet here. Let's go gear down now.
Wailing 8155, traffic seems to clear. Okay, 155, the traffic, can you confirm the traffic is in the threshold of the runway? Negative, we have no visual of him at all. Any other aircraft on the airfield, so we'll be good to go. Alright, thank you. Boeing 8155 for your information. There is an arrival approximately now 12 miles out in the middle of the NDB approach. So I don't know if you're able to make the quickly backtrack and take off, or will you prefer to hold short
Please let him hold short.
to the traffic level?
Please let him hold short.
We'll be able to backtrack and we'll do immediate takeoff available for the 8155.
Just to let the traffic know we are now 6 nautical miles away. Oh dear, this is fun. You said 12 nautical miles away, we're 6. Just to confirm.
Palma 1416.
Oh god, here we go. I'm going to slow right down.
1416, I see you 10 miles south of the... apologize, 10 miles south of the tree shore, so you continue your NDB approach.
Roger that, we'll continue approach Condor 1416. I'm probably worrying too much here, in all honesty. I didn't mean to step on frequency there, but yes. We'll see how we go. Right, okay, we're fully established for landing now. I'm happy with everything, so I'm going to take out the autopilot early here. And of course, the FSLabs is going to completely die on me. What a surprise. What the was that?
Arrival traffic, Condor 1416, wind now 020, 16 knots at the runway 01, you're clear to land.
Clear to land runway 01, Condor 1. Okay, that turned out okay. I highly apologize for the state of the FSLabs there. I have absolutely no idea what it was trying to do. I wish I could see the pappies now, but we're pretty much just going visual.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Hurrah, he says. The fun and joys of VIII, hey? Always an interesting one. Gonna watch we don't get too low here. I guess we maybe were about 10 nautical miles out. It was just, I was looking at my FMGC and it said 6 nautical miles as he said 12 nautical miles on the radio to the other traffic. So I was worried that he was going to start asking him to backtrack with me in the way. I'm still not visual with the runway yet, actually. And I believe I could be quite high. I think I can just about see the pappy lights ahead of me.
2,000
feet. Everything's fine. We've got this wind which is pushing us about a little bit. It's about 60 knots just coming from the right-hand side of the aircraft. I'm not too sure if it was that caused the aircraft to completely jolt to the left-hand side when I took out the autopilot. But landing checklist, we've got flaps full and landing no blue on the upper ECAM display. I can now see the pappy lights and I'm happy with the altitude. I can see 2 red, 2 white. So we're just going to continue on straight here and then we'll line ourselves up.
minimum.
Continue. Yeah, I'm visual with the runway now. Wind is definitely pushing me about a little bit. So I've really got to be careful with that. I'm just about to see the pappy lights. 2 white, 2 red, I believe they're reading. What an incredible approach this is. Wow, this wind is bashing me about. We've got to watch out for this terrain that's very close to our left-hand side here, basically directly in front of us. I don't want to be scraping my wings or anything on that, or the gear for that matter. Start to think about lining up with the runway now, though. Still 2 white, 2 red on the pappy light, so I'm happy.
1,000.
Just got to be careful of these winds. 1,000 feet, we are stable. I'm continuing on this. A little bit high, if anything now. Speed's okay, though, so nothing to worry about. Got to be careful of those winds because they're really dragging me about. I can assure you half of these movements with the wind knocking around the aircraft and me trying to correct them, like when my nose just moved there to that right hand side, that's the crosswind trying to drag me across. So this is really tricky landing conditions.
$500. 400. 300. 200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. Retard.
Oh, hello, we're down. Oh my god. Not quite what I wanted in terms of the touchdown, but that was very tricky with the wind. Very tricky with the wind.
Winning 8155, now you can...
There we go. Welcome down, my friends. Not the softest landing in the world, but in all honesty, I'm not too worried because that was crazy.
Condor 1416, welcome to La Palma Airport. Please backtrack on runway, gate Charlie, and then you can taxi till platform number 9. Please report engine shutdown.
Roger that. We'll backtrack the runway now, then exit via Charlie to stand number 9, Condor 1. There we go. Oh, I didn't mean to stop there. I apologise. Not happy with that landing 100%, but hey ho. We did our best. Our first ever approach in here. It would have been fine if the wind hadn't been shaking me about so much. I'm not too sure if that's, you know, the nature of this approach with the terrain there, and it just does those things where it just really shakes everybody about on their approach. You can see the other traffic there now who's just entered the runway, which is awesome. So maybe not the best landing, but incredible timing, and I'm really, really, you know, happy that we managed to get some good ATC. Anyway, let's clean up the aircraft a little bit now. I'm going to take out the flight directives here, and we'll turn on the APU master switch. I can take off the weather radar now. Don't need that anymore. But definitely going to be returning here soon. Definitely think I'm going to have to come back here on screen.
Condor 1416, please confirm when you are the runway vacated.
Roger that, no problem at all. We'll call you when we vacate.
Boeing 8155, please hold short.
Gate number 5. Gate number 9, sorry. Oh, Westport. Oh, hello, Sim. Oh, GSX. Oh my god. What has this done to my frame rate? Rip. Okay, I'm still here. I had to cut recording for a second there, as you saw, and then re-go. GSX completely just destroyed my frame rate, as you guys will have seen there. So, little pause. I apologize for that, but we're going to start up the APU now. So I've got rid of GSX, unfortunately, which is a shame, but hey ho. What can be done? It loves. I swear that GSX is the add-on that messes up the most. It just loves destroying itself for no apparent reason. So apologies for that. Condor 1416 now vacated, Charlie.
All right, thank you. So Boeing 8155, winds now 020, 16 knots, runway 01, you're clear for takeoff. Runway 01, clear for takeoff, Boeing 8155.
Right, and we're up here on stand number 9. I won't be using GSX at the moment. I'll see if I can get it loaded in once we've parked up, maybe. But we've got this traffic who's now on runway 01, ready to go. Stand number 12 just coming into my left. And then it just goes down to 11, 10, number 9 is where we're parking on. Turned off all the taxi lights now and everything. We don't need that. I wonder if we're going to be able to see this traffic taxi. I really hope we are. APU is available now, which is good. Sorry, I mean this aircraft takeoff. There he is. I'll slow right down now before we make the turn in. Okay. Oh, and I've missed it. What a surprise. Don't stop, Chewie. We had such a lovely departure and then this arrival. I've messed up a little bit. So I apologize for that. I'm by no means a professional in this thing. If you came onto the video expecting the world's best pilot, I'm afraid you're in the wrong place. But no excuses. Very good fun flight. Really glad that I did this one. Select the parking brake now. My TCAS needs to come off as well. And then APU is available. We'll pop the APU onto the bleeds. Just need to stop the chrono. And then we will cut off engine number 1, cut off engine number 2, stop the clock at 4 hours. Whoops, wrong one, sorry. At 4 hours and 30, was that 33 or 37 minutes? 33 minutes. 4 hours and 33 minutes block time. 4 hours and 11 minutes for the flight. So 4 minutes over our schedule, but not too bad whatsoever. Beacon light can come off now. Seatbelt light can come off as well. Fuel pumps can come off. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, down to La Palma. Absolutely beautiful. Not the best landing in the world. I don't think it was the worst either, though, in all honesty. I'm really happy that we got to try out that approach and that I did that fuel. So I really hope you enjoyed that. Let's just set the external controls together. And we'll start to open up some doors. And then we will request the boarding. I'll be honest in saying that I have absolutely no idea what happened there with GSX and why it lagged so much when we tried to select the gate. It's still lagging now, even though I'm on stand and not moving. So typical GSX, it always loves to fail. It's, as I said earlier on, it's the add-on that always messes up the most. So I guess I'm just going to have to reinstall it and see what happens. But there we go. Condor 1416 in a very blustery and windy La Palma, safely down on the ground. Just about. That was a very interesting approach. One that definitely tested me. And I'm absolutely determined to nail that landing at some point because that wasn't the best one that I've ever done by any. But we did boarding all of the passengers now. The cargo is unloading as well. And that is another full flight video completed for you all. I really hope you enjoy this one. This is my first full flight video in the FSLabs A320. Let me know if you'd like to see more in the comments section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel as well. It's very much appreciated. We've got over 7,000 subscribers now, which is unbelievable. So from stand number 9, down on the ground at GCLA, thank you very much for watching. Happy landings.